Alright, y'all. What I'm going to attempt to make today is a boomerang wall shelf. I'm just going to figure it out as I go. I'm going to be using these true 1-inch thick boards, and I'm going to cut 2-inch strips from this, and then I'm going to start laying them onto this 1/4-inch thick plywood as a backer. I'm going to arrange them and hope I know what in the world I'm doing. This is 30 inches wide by 9 inches tall, and I put 4 lines in here, like 2 lines on the outside, line here, and line in the middle. So we got it divided. So this will be at the 15 mark. This line will be at a 7.5 inch mark from this end, and this line is 7.5 inches from the end over here. What I'll end up doing is cutting away all the board here, and I think after I figure out the spacing, I think I'm going to cut out a V here so it's like a boomerang like this. Alright, so let's just get into it. I need to cut the top of this piece here at a slant where I have enough surface area to attach to the shelf when I put it on top. So I want to meet the edge of this piece with the top edge of this middle. This edge of this piece has to meet that line where that line here intersects with the base. And this is the place where I will cut this piece. And then I will bring another piece, or what's left over from this, and meet it against here, and then run this piece in parallel with the edge, the bottom edge of the triangle here till it comes off here. So that would form that first triangle, and the exact same thing would go on the other side. Okay, so here's this first piece cut, and it'll go into position like this. And I realized that this other side was the same, so I already had the angle cut, and I cut it a little longer than the edge just to be cut later, just in case. So they all meet up like this, okay, and they form the V. There you go. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the opposite side, but I will continue to do these, and I will be cutting here down this center line, and then here to continue the V. But actually I'm going to cut a little longer on this side just to cut it off, because at the end I'll be trimming the edges of the entire piece. Well, I've got to trim this, but we'll go with something thin like this here, maybe a little thinner, and then after that we'll go thicker, and then another piece here, or perhaps a thin piece here, and then the final thick piece here. That will let me know what the width of this one should be. So I'm going to cut out all the pieces, and then we'll see where we are. Okay, I got everything cut out, and I realized that the angle is actually a 30-degree angle. So what I'm going to do is sand everything, and then I'm going to do some staining and painting. And again, these V's right here at the top are going to be cut out, as well as the seam here. Okay, we got all the sanding done, and what I'm going to be using for the colors is this basic white paint, spray paint. I'm going to use this vintage teal spray paint. I think I'm going to use this blue juniper chalk paint. I wish it was satin because the other two are satin, but it's all I have. I'm going to use golden oak stain. I'm going to use dark walnut stain, and I think I'm going to use espresso stain.
You don't even know me like that. Are you pressed for time? Put you in my mind. Come a little closer like that. Staying up all night, throwing drinks back. Blue eyes smiling while you're cursing. I admit it's working. Your words.
Okay, y'all, here are all our pieces completed. What I'm going to begin to do is use some wood glue and my nail gun to put these pieces in position.
Crazy is perfect, shaky and I'm slurring, 'cause I'm nervous. It's you, it's you, oh you, the second I saw you, I'm nervous that it's you, I'm nervous. I'm nervous that it's you. Now we don't wanna go back. Blurring all the lines, been going from.
Y'all, I did a terrible job of cutting these edges. They are so raggedy on this side that if I keep cutting, this boomerang won't have on this side because I keep screwing it up. This is not the channel for perfection. This is the channel for screw-ups. And that I'm not going to do over. So anyway, I'm going to be using these strips of wood here to line the sides. And that's what I intended all the time. I'm telling you about the screw-up and cutting the main piece. Because this will not fit properly against the edge. I'm going to have to do the best I can and hope it doesn't look a hot mess. I'm going to be lining the edges of this piece with these two thin strips of wood as a sort of finishing edge, so it'll look a little bit more finished. I'm going to be staining them with espresso stain, and this piece here is 3.5 inches this way. You see that? This is 3.5 inches. It's a little longer than the full piece. So this will be the shelf and it'll go on top like this. Again, my crazy cutting and sanding doesn't allow for perfection. So it's going to be what it's going to be. But I think it'll still look overall good. And the shelf will be a little longer than the base. And these edging pieces will come up to the edge of the shelf, but I'm going to stain the shelf and these edge pieces with espresso stain. When I started to cut, maybe I should have waited 24 hours for the whole thing to dry because it seems like some things have shifted around and I've got more of a seam here. I'm gonna let it go. Okay, now that we have these pieces all stained and dried, it's time to attach them to the base.
Been losing my mind, like being lost in your blue.
Now, as far as the shelf, I think what I'm going to do is attach it with the nail gun first with glue, and then I'm going to go ahead and drive some screws in to really secure it to this base because I think that's going to be the safest thing to do. I could countersink the screws and put some wood filler in and then put some stain over that afterward, but I don't know. I don't really want to mar this surface because it really looks pretty cool. I'm adding a couple of these sawtooth hook dealios to the back of the piece to hang it on the wall.